The battle was over. Smoke filled the air of the alien warship as sparks flew from broken control panels. Commander Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge, his boots making heavy sounds on the metal floor. His team of human soldiers stood. Behind him, their weapons still ready, the huge alien ship called Bloodfang was now defeated. For months, this ship had attacked human colonies and killed thousands of innocent people. The Galactic Council had said it was impossible to stop them. But Jake and his crew had done it. "Sir, all enemy weapons are down," reported Lieutenant Tom Brooks, Jake's second-in-command. "Their engines are dead too. They can't escape." Jake nodded. He looked around the alien bridge. Everything was so different from human ships. The walls were dark red and strange symbols glowed everywhere. The air smelled like metal and something else he couldn't name. In the center of the bridge stood the enemy commander. He was huge, maybe 8 feet tall, with green scaly skin and yellow eyes. His name was General Call, leader of the Velthic Empire's most feared battle group. Now he stood with his hands raised, defeated, human, Call said in broken English. His voice was deep and rough. "You have won. I surrender my ship to you." Jake stepped closer. "Good. Tell your crew to put down all weapons. No one else has to die today." Call made a low growling sound. "You fight well for such a small creature." The council said humans were weak. They were wrong. "Yeah, they were," Jake replied. He activated his communicator. "Control, this is Morrison. The Bloodfang is secure. Send the boarding teams." Soon, more human soldiers arrived. They began taking control of the ship and securing the alien crew. Jake watched as his people worked. They were tired but happy. This victory would save many lives. "Commander Morrison," came a voice behind him. Jake turned to see Ambassador Reed, the Galactic Council representative who had come with them. Reed was a thin man with gray hair who always looked worried. "Yes, Ambassador?" "According to galactic law, you have the right to claim prizes from the defeated ship. As the victor, you may take whatever you wish." Jake frowned. "I don't want their stuff. Just make sure their weapons are destroyed." General Call stepped forward. "Wait, human commander, I have something special for you. A prize worthy of your victory. I told you I don't want anything from you." But Call was already speaking to one of his soldiers in their alien language. The soldier ran off and came back a few minutes later with 2 guards. Between them, they dragged someone. Jake's eyes went wide. It was a young woman, but she wasn't human. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly. Her hair was long and silver, falling over her face. She wore torn, dirty clothes. Heavy metal chains were around her wrists and ankles. "This is Lyra," Call said proudly. "She is Etherin. Her people are very rare, very valuable. She has been my personal slave for 3 years. Now she is yours." The alien woman looked up. Her eyes were large and silver, like stars. But Jake could see pain in them, fear too. She was shaking. "What?" Jake said. "No, I don't want a slave." Call looked confused. "But she is worth more than this entire ship. Etherians have special powers. They can heal wounds with their touch. They can feel what others feel. Many would pay millions for her." Ambassador Reed stepped closer. "Commander, this is actually quite an honor. Etherian slaves are extremely rare. The council would be very pleased if you accepted." Jake stared at the woman called Lyra. She was looking at the floor now, waiting to see what would happen to her. Her whole body showed defeat and hopelessness. "How long has she been a slave?" Jake asked. 3 years, Call replied. "I took her myself when we raided her world. She was a healer there. Now she serves me, or served me. Now she will serve you." Something hot and angry grew in Jake's chest. He had spent his whole life fighting for freedom. He had joined the military to protect innocent people. Now they wanted to give him a person as a prize? "Let me see those chains," he said. Call smiled, thinking Jake was interested. "Yes, they are energy chains, very strong. She cannot break them. She cannot escape." Jake walked over to Lyra. She flinched when he got close, clearly expecting to be hit. Instead, Jake knelt down so he could look at her face. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She looked up, surprised. Lyra," she whispered. Her voice was soft and musical. I'm Jake. Can you understand me okay? She nodded. Yes, I learned your language. Jake stood up and pulled out his plasma cutter from his belt. It was a tool used to cut through metal and energy fields. Commander, what are you doing? Ambassador Reed asked nervously. Jake didn't answer. He turned on the plasma cutter and knelt beside Lyra again. The bright blue beam cut through the energy chains like they were made of paper, first her wrists, then her ankles. No, Call shouted. You are destroying valuable property. Jake stood up and faced the alien general. His eyes were cold and hard. She's not property, she's a person. The chains fell to the floor with a loud crash. Lyra stared at her free hands like she couldn't believe it. She touched her wrists where the chains had been. Sir, Lieutenant Brooks said quietly, what are you doing? The right thing, Jake replied. He turned to Lyra. You're free now. Number one owns you. Tears began to fall from her silver eyes. Free? She whispered. Double quotes. Yes, free. Ambassador Reed looked very worried. Commander, you can't just free a legal slave. There are laws. Procedures. Then change the laws, Jake said firmly. He looked at his crew. Anyone who has a problem with this can speak up now. His soldiers looked at each other. Some seemed confused, but none spoke against him. They had followed Jake through many battles. They trusted him. This is madness, Call growled. You humans don't understand how things work in the galaxy. Maybe that's a good thing, Jake replied. He turned to Lyra again. Can you walk? She nodded and slowly stood up. Her legs shook, but she stayed upright. Good, you're coming with us? You'll be safe on our ship? Safe? She asked like the word was strange to her. Yes, safe, I promise. As they walked off the alien bridge, Jake could hear Ambassador Reed talking rapidly into his communicator, probably reporting what had happened. Jake didn't care. He had made his choice. Behind them, General Call shouted angry words in his alien language, but Jake kept walking with Lyra staying close beside him. She kept looking at her free hands, touching her wrists where the chains used to be. For the first time in 3 years, Lyra was not someone's property. She was free, and Jake. Morrison had just changed both of their lives forever. 3 days had passed since Jake freed Lyra from her chains. Now she sat in the small guest room aboard the human ship Defiance, staring out the window at the stars. She still couldn't believe she was free. The room was simple but clean. Jake had given her new clothes, food, and a soft bed. After 3 years of sleeping on cold metal floors, the bed felt like a dream, but Lyra couldn't sleep well. She kept waiting for someone to come and put the chains back on. A soft knock came at her door. Lyra? It's Dr. Martinez. May I come in? Yes, Lyra sighed quietly. Dr. Sofia Martinez entered. She was the ship's doctor, a kind woman with dark hair and gentle eyes. She had been taking care of Lyra's injuries since they left the alien ship. How are you feeling today? Dr. Martinez asked, sitting in a chair across from Lyra. Better, Lyra replied. It was true. The cuts and bruises from her time as a slave were healing fast. Her people healed quickly, especially when they felt safe. Good, your wrists look much better. The chain marks are almost gone. Dr. Martinez paused. Lyra, I need to ask you something. What did they do to you on that ship? Lyra looked down at her hands. Many things. Bad things. They made me heal their wounded soldiers. When I was too tired to use my powers, they hurt me. They said I was worthless if I couldn't work. Dr. Martinez's face grew angry. I'm sorry that happened to you. You didn't deserve any of that. General Call said my people were born to serve, that we were too weak to be free. That's not true, Dr. Martinez said firmly. No one is born to be a slave. Everyone deserves freedom. There was another knock at the door. Come in, Dr. Martinez called. Commander Jake Morrison entered. Lyra felt her heart beat faster. Since he had freed her, she had only seen him a few times. Each time she tried to understand why he had helped her. How is she doing, Doc? Jake asked. Much better. Her injuries are healing well. Jake nodded. Good. He looked at Lyra. I wanted to talk to you about what happens next. Lyra felt fear creep into her chest. Are you going to sell me? What? No, Jake said quickly. I told you're free. I meant it. Then what will happen to me? Jake sat down. That's what I want to discuss. We'll reach the space station New Port in 2 days. It's a neutral zone where different species trade. I was thinking you could start a new life there. Lyra looked confused. A new life? I don't understand. You could find work. Maybe as a healer, since that's what you used to do. You could rent a small place to live, be your own person. The idea scared Lyra. She had been a slave for so long, she had forgotten what it was like to make her own choices. What? If I can't do it, what if I'm not strong enough? You are strong, Jake said. Stronger than you know. You survived 3 years with those animals. You can survive anything. Before Lyra could answer, Jake's communicator beeped. Morrison here. Sir, you need to come to the bridge right away, came Lieutenant Brooks' voice. We have a problem. Jake stood up. On my way, he looked at Lyra. We'll talk more later, okay? She nodded as he left. Dr. Martinez stayed behind. He's a good man, the doctor said. Not many people would have done what he did. Why did he free me? Lyra asked. What does he want from me? Nothing. That's what makes him special. On the bridge, Jake found his crew gathered around the communication console. Lieutenant Brooks looked worried. What's the situation? Jake asked. We just received a message from the Galactic Council, Brooks replied. They're not happy about what you did. Let me guess. They want Lyra back. Worse than that, sir. They're threatening to arrest you for destroying legal property. Ambassador Reed has been telling them everything. Jake wasn't surprised. Reed had been angry since the moment Jake cut Lyra's chains. What else? The Velthic Empire is also making demands. They say you stole their property and they want it returned. They're sending ships to intercept us. How many ships? 3 war cruisers. They'll reach us before we get to Newport. Jake thought for a moment. His ship was fast and well-armed, but 3 Velthic cruisers would be a tough fight. Any other options? Well, sir, ... Brooks hesitated. There is one thing, an old Earth law that might help. What law? Marriage protection. If you were to marry Lyra, she would automatically become an Earth citizen. The Council couldn't touch her then. The bridge went quiet. Everyone stared at Jake. Marriage? Jake said slowly. It's just a legal thing, Brooks explained. Earth protects its citizen spouses, even alien ones. The Council would have to deal with Earth's government directly, and that would take months. Jake rubbed his forehead. That's crazy. Maybe, but it would work. At least until we can figure out something else. Sir, came a voice from behind them. Jake turned to see Lyra standing at the bridge entrance. She had heard everything. Lyra, you shouldn't be here. It's not safe if we have to fight. I heard what you said about marriage. She walked closer. You would do that? For me? It would. Just be on paper, Jake said quickly. To protect you. You wouldn't have to. It wouldn't be a real marriage. Just legal protection. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. She looked at Jake with her silver eyes. Why do you keep helping? Me? I don't understand. Because it's the right thing to do. But you don't know me. I'm not even human. So what? You're a person. You deserve to be free and safe. Lyra felt something warm in her chest. It was a feeling she hadn't experienced in years. Hope. If I agree? To this marriage, she said slowly, what would you want from me? Nothing. You'd be free to do whatever you want. Go wherever you want. The marriage would just be a legal shield. And if I wanted to stay with you, on this ship? Jake looked surprised. You'd want to do that? I have nowhere else to go. And ... double quotes. She paused, then spoke quietly. I feel safe here. With you. Lieutenant Brooks cleared his throat. Sir, those Velthic ships are getting closer. We need to decide now, Jake looked at Lyra. Are you sure about this? Once we do it, there's no going back. The whole galaxy will know. Lyra nodded. I'm sure. All right then. Jake turned to his crew. Brooks, get me a connection to Earth Command. We're going to need official approval for this. Sir, that could take hours. The Velthic ships will be here soon. Then we'll have to hold them off until then. Jake looked at Lyra again. I hope you're ready for this. Things are about to get very complicated. More complicated than being a slave? Lyra asked. Jake smiled for the first time in days. Good point. An hour later, Jake stood in the ship's meeting room with Lyra beside him. Dr. Martinez was there as a witness, along with Lieutenant Brooks and the ship's engineer, Chief Petty Officer Kim. By the authority given to me as a ship's captain, Jake said formally. And with approval from Earth Command, I hereby declare Jake Morrison and Lyra. What's your last name? I don't have one, Lyra said. My people don't use family names. Then, Lyra Morrison, Jake continued, to be legally married under Earth law. It was done, they were married. Jake felt strange about it, but also right somehow. Congratulations, Dr. Martinez said with a smile. Though I wish it was under better circumstances. Sir, Brooks called from the bridge communicator. The Velthic ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're demanding we surrender Lyra immediately? Jake activated the communicator. This is Commander Jake Morrison of the Earth ship Defiance. The person you're looking for is now an Earth citizen by marriage. She is under the protection of the Earth Federation. Any attack on this ship will be considered an act of war. There was a long pause. Then a rough alien voice replied, We do not recognize your human laws. Return our property or be destroyed. Jake looked at Lyra. She was standing straighter now, no longer the broken slave. Girl from 3 days ago? Well, Mrs. Morrison, he said with a small smile, looks like we're about to have our first fight as a married couple. For the first time since he'd known her, Lyra smiled back. I'm ready, husband. Outside, 3 alien warships moved closer, their weapons charging. But inside the Defiance, 2 people who had been strangers just days ago stood together, ready to face whatever came next. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't give up their family without a fight. The 3 Velthic warships hung in space like giant metal sharks, their weapons pointed at the Defiance. On the bridge, Jake watched the enemy ships on his main screen while his crew prepared for battle. Sir, they're charging their main guns, reported Officer Kim from her station. Looks like they're serious about taking Lyra back. Let them try? Jake said grimly. He activated the ship-wide communicator. All hands, this is the captain. We're about to face 3 enemy ships. They want to take our newest crew member back into slavery. That's not going to happen. Battle stations, everyone? Lyra stood beside Jake on the bridge. She wore a human uniform now, looking more like a crew member than a former slave, but her hands were shaking. Jake, she said quietly, maybe I should go with them. I don't want your people to die because of me. Not happening, Jake replied. Firmly, you're part of this crew now. We protect our own. The communication console beeped. Lieutenant Brooks answered it. Sir, it's Admiral Chun from Earth Command. Jake took the call. Admiral Chin's face appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and stern eyes. Morrison, what the hell are you doing out there? She demanded. I'm getting angry calls from the Galactic Council, the Velthic Empire, and half the galaxy. They say you married an alien slave? Yes, ma'am, to protect her from being returned to slavery. Do you have any idea what kind of mess you've created? The Council is threatening to ban all human ships from their space. The Velthic are calling it an act of war. With respect, Admiral, I don't care. No one deserves to be a slave, Admiral Chun sighed. Jake, I admire what you're trying to do. But you can't fight the whole galaxy by yourself. I won't have to. Earth believes in freedom, doesn't it? Of course we do, but support me. On this, the communication was cut off as the first Velthic ship opened fire. Red energy beams shot across space toward the Defiance. Jake's ship shook as the shields absorbed the hits. Return fire, Jake ordered. Target their engines. The Defiance shot back with blue plasma cannons. The human ship was smaller than the alien vessels, but it was faster and more advanced. Jake had trained his crew well. Direct hit on their lead ship. Kim reported. Their shields are down to 60%, but the other 2 ships were moving to surround them. Jake knew they couldn't win a straight fight against 3 enemies. Brooks, set course for the asteroid field near here. Maybe we can use the rocks. For cover, yes, sir? The Defiance raced toward a field of floating rocks and metal debris. The Velthek ships followed, still firing. One energy beam got through the shields and hit the human ship's hull. "Damage report," Jake called. "Minor hull breach on Deck 3, came Dr. Martinez's voice from sickbay. "No injuries, but we can't take many more hits like that." As they flew into the asteroid field, Jake had an idea. "Kim, can you target that big asteroid there, the one with all the metal ore?" "Yes, sir. But why would we want to shoot a rock? Just trust me." "Fire when ready." The Defiance fired at the large asteroid. The rock exploded into thousands of pieces, creating a cloud of metal fragments. When the first Velthek ship flew into the cloud, the metal pieces damaged their sensors and confused their targeting systems. "Nice thinking, Captain," Brooks said with a grin, but they weren't safe yet. The other two ships were still coming, and Jake's communicator was beeping with more calls. From Earth Command. "Sir, it's Ambassador Reed," Brooks reported. "He's on one of the Velthek ships." "What? Put him through." Reed's worried face appeared on screen. Behind him, Jake could see Velthek soldiers. "Commander Morrison, you must listen to reason. The Council has agreed to let you keep the alien woman, but only if you return her to them for proper registration as your property." "She's not property," Jake shouted. "She's my wife and an Earth citizen. It's just paperwork, Commander." "They'll give her back to you?" Lyra stepped forward. "No," she said clearly. "I will not go back to being owned by anyone." "I am free now." Reed looked surprised to hear her speak. "The alien can talk?" "Her name is Lyra," Jake said angrily. "And she's not going anywhere." The call ended as another energy blast hit their ship. This time, the lights flickered and sparks flew from several control panels. "Sir, our shields are failing," Kim reported. "We need to get out of here. Where can we go?" Brooks asked. "The Council will just send more ships after us." Jake thought quickly. There was one place they might be safe, but it would mean giving up everything he had worked for in the military. "Set course for the frontier worlds," he said finally. "Everyone." On the bridge stared at him. The frontier worlds were a group of planets that had broken away from the Galactic Council. They were considered rebels and outlaws by most of the galaxy. "Sir, if we go there, we can never come back," Brooks said. "Earth Command will call us deserters." "I know." Jake looked at Lyra. "But it's the only place where Lyra will be truly safe." "Jake, no," Lyra said. "Don't give up your career for me. I'm not worth it." "Yes, you are." Jake turned to his crew. "Anyone who wants to stay with Earth can take a shuttle to the nearest station. I won't force anyone to become an outlaw with me." The bridge was quiet for a moment, then Brooks spoke up. "Sir, where you go, we go. You saved our lives more times than I can count. Now it's our turn to save yours, and Lyra's," added Kim. "She's crew now, we protect crew." One by one, every officer on the bridge agreed to follow Jake. Even Dr. Martinez called from sickbay to say she was staying. "Thank you," Lyra whispered, tears in her silver eyes. "All of you." "Don't thank us yet," Jake said. "We still have to get out of here alive." The Defiance raced through the asteroid field with the two remaining Velthek ships in pursuit. Jake used every trick he knew, hiding behind rocks and using the debris to confuse the enemy sensors. Finally, they reached the edge of the field. Open space lay ahead, but so did freedom. "Jump to hyperspace as soon as we clear the asteroids," Jake ordered. "Yes, sir." Course laid in for frontier space. Just as they were about to jump, Lyra gasped. She grabbed Jake's arm, her eyes wide with fear. "What is it?" he asked. "I can feel them," she said. "The Velthek, they're very angry. And they're not going to give up." "They'll follow us? Let them try," Jake said. "The frontier worlds don't bow to the Galactic Council." The Defiance jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Velthek ships behind. But Jake knew this was just the beginning. Word would spread across the galaxy about the human who married his alien slave and defied the Council. Some would call him a hero. Others would call him a criminal. But Jake didn't care about any of that. 3 hours later, as they traveled through hyperspace, Jake found Lyra in the ship's small garden room. She was sitting among the earth plants, looking peaceful for the first time since he'd known her. "How are you feeling?" he asked, sitting beside her. "Strange," she said. "Free, but also scared. I don't know what will happen to us. Neither do the first, but we'll face it together." Lyra looked at him with her silver eyes. "Jake, why did you really?" "Free me? The truth." Jake was quiet for a moment. "Because when I looked at you in those chains, I saw everything that was wrong with the galaxy, and I decided I couldn't be part of that anymore. Even if it costs you everything, my career, my reputation, none of that matters if I can't look at myself in the mirror." Lyra smiled softly. "On my world, we have a saying. The strongest metal is forged in the hottest fire. I think you understand what that means." "Yeah, I do." As the Defiance traveled toward the frontier worlds, Jake realized his old life was over. But maybe, just maybe, his new life would be better. Behind them, the Velthic Empire was planning revenge. Ahead of them lay uncertainty and danger, but for the first time in years, Jake Morrison felt like he was doing something that truly mattered. And beside him sat a woman who was no longer a slave, but a free person with hope in her heart. The galaxy was about to change. Whether it wanted to or not. 2 weeks had passed since the Defiance escaped to frontier space. The ship was now docked at Freedom Station, a large trading post built inside a hollow asteroid. It was a rough place where pirates, rebels, and outcasts came to do business away from the Galactic Council's laws. Jake walked through the crowded station corridors with Lyra beside him. She wore a hood to hide her blue skin and silver hair. Even in this lawless place, an Aetherin would attract unwanted attention. "Stay close," Jake said quietly. "This place can be dangerous," Lyra nodded. Over the past 2 weeks, she had grown stronger and more confident. She was learning to use her healing powers to help the ship's crew, and they had accepted her as one of their own. But she still felt nervous in crowds. They were heading to meet Commander Vale, the leader of the Frontier Defense Force. Vale had sent word that he wanted to discuss Jake's future in frontier space. "Morrison!" a voice called out behind them. Jake turned to see a tall man with a metal arm and scars on his face walking toward them. This was Commander Vale, a former Earth military officer who had been discharged for refusing to follow orders he thought were wrong. "Commander Vale," Jake said, shaking the man's good hand. "Call me Marcus, we're all rebels here." Vale looked at Lyra with curiosity. "So this is the famous alien bride who's causing so much trouble in the galaxy." "My name is Lyra," she said, clearly not hiding behind Jake. "Good, I respect people who speak for themselves," Marcus smiled. "Come, let's talk somewhere private." They went to a small office deeper in the station. Marcus poured drinks for them and sat down. "Jake, I'll be direct," he said. "The frontier worlds need good military commanders. We're always fighting off pirates and council attack ships. I could use someone with your skills. What's the catch?" Jake asked. "The catch is that half the galaxy wants your head. The Velthic Empire has put a bounty on both of you. 2 million credits, dead or alive." Lyra went pale. 2 million? For me? For both of you. They're calling you a terrorist and her stolen property. Every bounty hunter in the galaxy is looking for you now." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. "Let them come." "That's the spirit I like to hear," Marcus leaned forward. "But there's something else. The Council is pressuring neutral stations to deny you docking rights. They want to force you back into their space. So what do you suggest?" "Join us officially. Become a frontier commander. We'll give you protection and a new ship if you need it. In return, you help us defend our worlds." Jake looked at Lyra. "What do you think?" "It's your choice," she said. "But I think these people understand freedom better than the Council." Before Jake could answer, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors outside. Marcus jumped up and activated his communicator. "Control." "What's happening?" "Sir, we have Velthic ships approaching. 3 cruisers just dropped out of hyperspace. They're demanding we surrender the humans." "Damn," Marcus said. "They found you faster than I expected." Jake stood up. We should go. I won't let this station be attacked because of us. No way, Marcus replied. Freedom Station doesn't bow to the Velthic Empire. Besides, those ships violated neutral space. That gives us the right to defend ourselves, the communicator crackled again. Sir, the Velthic are launching boarding pods. They're trying to land in Docking Bay 7. That's where your ship is, Marcus told Jake. They're going straight for you. Jake's crew was still aboard the Defiance, doing repairs. If the Velthic reached them, I have to get to my ship, Jake said. I'm coming with you, Lara said firmly. Absolutely not. It's too dangerous. Jake, I'm not a helpless slave anymore. I can help, Marcus handed them both blaster pistols. The lady's right. Besides, Aetherians have abilities that could be useful. In a fight. They ran through the station corridors as explosions echoed around them. Other people were running too, some toward the fighting, others away from it. Freedom Station was used to battles. When they reached Docking Bay 7, they found Jake's crew in a firefight with Velthic soldiers. The aliens had broken through the outer doors and were trying to reach the Defiance. Brooks! Jake called out as he started shooting at the enemy soldiers. Captain! Thank God you're here. Lieutenant Brooks dove behind a cargo container as energy bolts flew overhead. They want Lyra. They keep shouting about taking her alive. Jake looked around the docking bay. His crew was outnumbered, but they were holding their ground. Dr. Martinez was tending to a wounded station worker behind a pile of supplies. We need to get everyone to the ship, Jake told Lyra. Can you help the wounded? Lyra nodded and ran toward Dr. Martinez. As she knelt beside the injured man, her hands began to glow with soft blue light. The man's wounds started to heal. The Velthic soldiers saw her glowing hands and got excited. They started pushing forward more aggressively, trying to capture her. Protect Lyra, Jake shouted to his crew. The battle was fierce. Energy weapons lit up the docking bay like a deadly light show. Jake and his people fought hard, but more Velthic soldiers kept coming. Then something unexpected happened. A group of station children had been trapped in the bay when the fighting started. A stray energy bolt hit some fuel tanks near them, causing a small explosion. The children screamed in fear. Without thinking, Lyra ran toward the children. Energy. Bolts flew all around her, but she didn't stop. She reached the kids and threw herself over them. Protecting them with her own body, a Velthic energy beam hit her in the shoulder. She cried out in pain but didn't move away from the children. Lyra! Jake roared in rage. He fought like a wild animal, shooting every Velthic soldier he could see, but it was Jake's crew that surprised everyone the most. When they saw Lyra get hurt while protecting innocent children, something changed in them. She wasn't just an alien anymore, she was family. Nobody hurts our girl. Chief Kim shouted. Launching herself at two Velthic soldiers, Dr. Martinez grabbed a blaster and started shooting, even though she was a doctor who hated violence. Lieutenant Brooks led a charge that drove the aliens back toward the entrance. The tide of battle turned. The station security forces arrived to help, and soon the Velthic soldiers were retreating to their ships. Jake ran to Lyra, who was still covering the children. Her shoulder was bleeding blue blood, and she was very pale. Are you crazy? He said, kneeling beside her. You could have been killed. The children, she whispered. Are they safe? Jake looked. All 5 children were unharmed, just scared. They're fine, you saved them. Dr. Martinez came over with her medical kit. Move aside, Jake, let me work. As the doctor treated Lyra's wound, the children's parents arrived. They were station workers, rough people who had probably never seen an alien up close. But when they saw what Lyra had done for their kids, tears came to their eyes. Thank you, one mother said, holding her crying daughter. You risked your life for children you don't even know? All children deserve protection, Lyra said weakly. Word of what happened spread quickly through the station. An alien slave who had become free, then risked her life to save human children from the same people who had enslaved her, that evening. As Dr. Martinez finished treating Lyra's wound in the ship's sickbay, Jake's crew gathered around her bed. You scared us out there, Brooks said. But what you did, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen. You're truly one of us now, Kim added. Anyone who messes with you messes with all of us. Even tough Chief Petty Officer Walsh, who had been quiet about Lyra joining the crew, spoke up. Ma'am, I've served with a lot of soldiers. You've got more courage than most of them, Lyra smiled through her pain. Thank you. All of you. I've never had a family before. Well, you do now, Dr. Martinez said warmly. Later that night, Jake sat beside Lyra's bed as she slept. Her shoulder was bandaged, but she would heal completely in a few days. Ether and Bada's were amazing that way. Commander Marcus came to visit. The Velthic ships left, he reported. They were pretty beaten up. I don't think they'll try a direct attack again. Good, Jake said quietly, not wanting to wake Lyra. Jake, what she did today, ... The whole station is talking about it. People who hate aliens are saying nice things about her. You married a special woman. Jake looked at Lyra's peaceful face as she slept. Yeah, I did. The offer to join the frontier? Defense Force still stands? After today, I think a lot of people would be honored to serve with both of you. We'll think about it. Marcus left, and Jake continued to watch over Lyra. She had started as a chained slave, became his wife for legal protection, and now she was something more. She was becoming the person he cared about most in the universe, and tomorrow they would have to decide what kind of life they wanted to build together in this dangerous but free corner of the galaxy. For tonight. Though, it was enough that she was safe and healing, surrounded by people who had come to love her as family. The test of their bond had come sooner than expected, and they had passed it together. 6 months had passed since the battle at Freedom Station. The Defiance now flew patrol missions for the Frontier Defense Force, protecting colonies from pirates and council attacks. Jake had become one of their most respected commanders, and his crew was known throughout frontier space for their courage and loyalty. Today was special, though. The ship was approaching New Haven, a planet that had recently joined the frontier worlds, but this wasn't just another mission. Today, Jake and Lyra were going to have their real wedding. Nervous? Dr. Martinez asked Lyra as she helped her get ready in the ship's small quarters. Lyra wore a beautiful white dress that combined earth and Etherean styles. Her silver hair was decorated with tiny lights that made her glow softly. A little, Lyra admitted. The first time we married, it was just for protection. This time it's because we choose to. Are you sure this is what you want? Jake would understand if you changed your mind, Lyra smiled. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Over the past months, Jake and Lyra had grown closer. What started as legal protection had become real love. They worked together, fought together, and had saved each other's lives more than once. Jake had learned about Etherean culture, while Lyra had become an expert at understanding humans. Ma'am, came Lieutenant Brooks' voice over the intercom, we're approaching New Haven. The captain asked me to tell you that half the planet is waiting to see you, Lyra laughed. No pressure at all? The story of Jake and Lyra had spread across the galaxy. They had become symbols of hope for enslaved beings everywhere. Runaway slaves sought refuge in frontier space, hoping to find the same freedom Lyra had found. Some even asked to serve on Jake's ship. As the Defiance landed on New Haven, Lyra could see crowds of people waiting. There were humans, but also many other species, aliens who had escaped slavery or oppression and made new lives in frontier space. Ready? Jake asked, taking her hand. He wore his best uniform, the one with his new Frontier Defense Force rank. Ready, she replied. They walked down the ship's ramp together. The crowd cheered when they saw them. Children threw flower petals and someone played music. It felt like a celebration of freedom itself. Commander Marcus was there to greet them, along with Governor Hart, the human leader of New Haven. But what surprised Lyra most was seeing Captain Reyes, a woman she had helped heal during a battle. Last month, Lyra, Captain Reyes called out. I wanted to thank you again. The doctor said I would never walk again, but your healing powers gave me my life back. I'm just glad I could help, Lyra said warmly. Governor Hart stepped forward. Commander Morrison, Mrs. Morrison, welcome to New Haven. We're honored to host your wedding ceremony. The ceremony was held in the planet's main plaza under the open sky. Hundreds of people came to watch. Jake's entire crew was there, dressed in their best uniforms. Dr. Martinez would perform the ceremony, since ship doctors could marry people. Under frontier law, they stood together in front of everyone. Jake took Lyra's hands in his. When I first met you, he said, you were in chains. Now you're the strongest person I know. You've saved my life in more ways than one. You gave me freedom, Lyra replied, her silver eyes shining with tears. But more than that, you gave me hope. You showed me that not all people are cruel. That love is possible, even between different species. Dr. Martinez smiled. By the authority given to me by the frontier worlds, and in front of all these witnesses, I pronounce you husband and wife. Again. Everyone laughed at that. Jake and Lyra kissed as the crowd cheered. Fireworks lit up the sky in celebration. The party lasted until late in the evening. People shared food from a dozen different worlds. Children played together regardless of their species. Former slaves told stories of their new lives in freedom. As the night grew quiet, Jake and Lyra walked away from the celebration to a hill overlooking the settlement. The town's lights sparkled below them like stars. Do you ever regret it? Lyra asked. Giving up your career in Earth's Navy for me? Never, Jake said firmly. That life was about following orders and playing politics. This life is about doing what's right. Even when it's dangerous, especially when it's dangerous. Jake put his arm around her. Besides, I didn't give up everything. I still have my ship, my crew, and the woman I love. Lyra leaned against him. I have something to tell you. What? Dr. Martinez ran some tests yesterday. I'm pregnant. Jake stared at her in amazement. Pregnant? But ... is that even possible? You're Etherian and I'm human. Apparently our species are more similar than anyone thought. The baby will be healthy. Half human, half Etherian. Jake felt joy fill his heart. A baby, our baby. Are you happy? I'm more than happy. I'm amazed. Jake held her closer. Our child will grow up free, never knowing slavery or chains. And they'll grow up in a galaxy that's slowly changing, Lyra added. More species are joining the frontier. Worlds every month. People are starting to believe that freedom is possible. They were right about that. The story of Jake and Lyra had inspired rebellions on slave worlds. The Galactic Council was facing pressure to change their laws about slavery. Even some members of the Velthic Empire were questioning their traditions. The next morning, as they prepared to leave New Haven, Governor Hart came to see them off. I have news, she said. 3 more planets voted to join the frontier worlds. Last week, they all cited your story as inspiration. That's wonderful, Lyra said. There's more. We've been getting requests from former slaves who want to settle here. We're going to need someone to help them adjust to freedom. Someone who understands what they've been through. Lyra looked at Jake. They had talked about this possibility. We'd be honored to help, Jake said. When we're not on patrol missions, we could work with the refugees. Perfect. We'll set up a center for them here on New Haven. You two can run it together. As the Defiance lifted off from New Haven, Jake and Lyra stood on the bridge watching the planet shrink below them. Soon they would be back on patrol, protecting the frontier worlds from their enemies. Sir, Lieutenant Brooks reported, we have a message from Freedom Station. A ship full of escaped slaves is requesting escort to New Haven. Set course to intercept. Jake ordered. Full speed? Yes, sir. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Lyra placed her hand on her stomach. Their child was growing inside her, a symbol of hope for the future. A future where humans and aliens could live together as equals. What are you thinking about? Jake asked. The future, she said. Our child will grow up in a galaxy where beings from different worlds can fall in love and build families together. Where freedom matters more than profit. It won't be easy. There are still a lot of people who believe in slavery and oppression. And we'll keep fighting them. Together, Jake smiled. Together. The Defiance raced through space toward another rescue mission. Behind them, New Haven continued to grow as a symbol of freedom. Ahead of them lay more challenges, more people to save, more lives to change, but Jake and Lyra faced the future without fear. They had each other, they had their crew who had become family, and they had something even more powerful, hope. The slave girl in chains was gone forever. In her place stood a free woman, a healer, a wife, and soon to be a mother. And beside her stood the man who had seen her worth when the rest of the galaxy saw only property. Their story had become legend across the stars. But for Jake and Lyra Morrison, it was just the beginning of their real adventure. The galaxy was changing, one freed soul at a time. And they would be there to help right that change, together. For as long as the stars shone in space. In the end, love had conquered slavery. Freedom had defeated chains. And two beings from different worlds had proven that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is simply treating others with dignity and respect. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.